now the URL for the video.
We're already live.
Okay, so
the whole world is watching.
Oh, we are?
Yes.
Oh, and I'm standing here with my
Yes.
hands in my
Yes,
pocket.
Yes,
and,
yeah, that's a great way to start. Okay, all right.
Is there internet here?
Just go to
True.
you can edit all this out, right? So yeah.
So
But
I'll
it's
try.
more fun not to. All right, hold on.
I'll try to promote you guys in
There
terms
we
of
go.
Java Discord.
Yeah, I mean, we are live streaming, but I'm just, okay, and boom. And now you're actually in the center of the screen.
Okay.
And the screen is, you can see a thing on your forehead because it says Apple TV on your forehead.
How's that better? Yeah, we don't need, it's bad enough I don't have much hair left, but. All right, well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everybody here and in, I love that. Wow, we never get that kind of reception, right? And so you can see there's a lively crowd here.
This is so jolly.
That's right, this is true, you're right, this is true. But you know, I wanted to welcome everybody out there in YouTube land. So welcome for coming here tonight on such a beautiful day, by the way, right? We survived the snowstorms, none of them hit in January or February. So, you know, it's a little treacherous walking through, you know, that one path, but that's okay, right? But anyway, so thanks all for coming. We're going to do our usual, there we go. We'll take a second. All right, so without further ado, let's do our usual opening slides. So first, as we should, we're going to thank our sponsors because you know it's their generosity that helps make things happen here. Talk about what's new. Then I'll introduce Bruno and Louise, and then at the end we could talk about some upcoming events and what we're doing. Even though we haven't posted it yet on the website, we got some things cooking for next month and for May. And we'll also have a meeting tomorrow night with Victor Gomoff. So, okay. Our gold sponsor is Payara, makers of the Payara platform, which includes Payara Cloud, Payara Cube, and Payara Micro, Payara Server. So this is a Jakarta EE compliant web server, or application server, more accurately. Our silver sponsor is Azul. And as some of you know, Azul recently purchased Payara over the past couple of years. Our partner is DevNexus, and we are fresh back from Atlanta from DevNexus. Okay, so Luis, Bruno, Barry, myself, and others from our group were there last week, and you know we had an awesome time. Barry gave a very intriguing presentation on post-quantum, and you know I almost minored in math, so I really enjoyed that. And and Chandra and Rodrigo, they gave a presentation on advancing your Java with tips and tricks with testing and all that. So at some point they'll be on YouTube, so stay tuned for that. But yes, and next year DevNexus will be in April. And our per meeting sponsors, Pizza Outside, is from Romanelli's. They give us a nice discount every month. And JetBrains, of course, you know, when we give away the licenses for IntelliJ IDEA, that's courtesy of them. And then Jakarta EE and the Eclipse Foundation provide Crowdcast hosting for all Java user groups. We've used them at the beginning, but then we decided to go Zoom live stream to YouTube, so let's see. All right, our memberships, I won't get to them too much. There's a resources page you can look. We are part of the Jakarta EE ambassadors. We're also guest members of the Micro Profile and Jakarta EE working groups. And we're also a member of the Virtual Jug. So we can coordinate them. They can broadcast our meetings, when we have them. So, Arc of AI. If those of you who've been here, this is an AI conference run by Venkat Subramaniam, and we are a sponsor, or a community sponsor of this conference, along with Dev2 Next, which is later this year. And then with that, anybody who is interested in earning a free ticket can do so. So the next one will be March 15th. So you can see the the two folks who have already won in January and February. And stay tuned for that. What's new? JDK 26, next Tuesday, St. Patrick's Day. All right, 10 new JEPs, the first 5 of which are here. Okay, you can look those up, and it'll take a while to go through all that. All right, and then the release schedule, I can get rid of this slide after next Tuesday. Hopefully the JDK 27 release schedule will be out by then. Let's see, what else? And for JDK 27 so far, I haven't looked yet today, but JEP 527, which is a post-quantum hybrid key exchange for TLS 1.3, which Barry referenced in his presentation, is already targeted for Java 27, which will come out in September. All right, Jakarta EE12. The new GA release date is in the 4th quarter, probably closer to the end of the year. Long story behind that with the milestones and all the specs getting together and doing their thing to be compliant. As you may have already heard, Jakarta Query is a new specification that's already part of the platform. There's like 43 or 44 specs in the entire ecosystem, but only about 30 or so that are in the platform. The others are considered standalone. And then the Agentic AI spec was approved last November. There's some work already going on. More than likely, it won't become part of Jakarta EE12, but we'll see, and then hopefully Jakarta EE13. So a lot there, and this is good because, Java is getting more presence in the AI space. And we saw a lot of that in the talks last week at DevNexus. There was an AI Leaders Summit. Frank Greco, who's one of the leaders of the New York Java SIG, gave a presentation among other, Java luminaries. So this is good that, Python has been the sort of de facto language for this, but we're catching up. So, okay, so enough of me talking. I'm going to introduce Bruno and Luis. I think Luis is going to go first, but I'll read his bio. And, okay. Luis Real, right? That's all right. Is a software engineer at Fundercep. Did I say that right? How do you pronounce that? Fundernesp, your company. Fundernesp, okay.
Fundernesp.
With over 20 years of experience in Java. Beyond his technical work, Luis is active community leader at the Sul Java, which is in Brazil, one of the biggest, right, or the biggest Java user group in the world, right, Bruno? I think. It's bigger than us, that's for sure. And organizer of major conferences such as the Developers Conference and Dev Converge, where he helps developers share knowledge, build meaningful relationships, and grow their careers. And Bruno didn't want me to read his bio. He just wanted me to.
Me up to him.
Okay, you want me to do that? Okay,
Sure, yes.
that's perfect.
So you go on stage, you got that.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, well, with Luis, the stage is yours.
Yeah!
All right.
Yeah!
Thank you, Mike.
All right.
Hello, everyone. Let's do this. Okay, I'm here to talk to you about refactoring. Are you doing refactoring today? No?
Of course.
You do refactoring, Bruno?
I do refactoring.
You know? Yeah? Okay. So, who here is student? And who here are a professional with at least 10 years of career? 20 years of career? Okay, I'll stop here.
That's only him. Not me.
Okay, that's not a problem. Before I start my presentation here, I want to share with you that I started learning refactoring because I was part of a project that was legacy code. And I needed to do lots of refactoring. But then I moved to another project in like, it was Java 21, so it was new stuff. And I felt that all that things that I was doing with refactoring, I could do the same in new projects as well, because it becomes part of who you are as a programmer. So doesn't matter if you're doing with legacy code or new code, by knowing this refactoring stuff, you can be a better developer as well. Okay? So before we start here, sorry, I prepared a chaos checklist because when we talk about refactoring, we usually talk about code smells. We talk about code that needs a better way, needs to change, okay? So do me a favor, please tell me if you saw this thing or if you did this thing in the list at least once in your life. The first thing, variables and methods with meaningless names. Okay, everyone saw. More than one responsibility in methods classes. Yeah. Too many comments to explain the code. Now with AI, you love that? Okay. There's always someone that loves comments. But now with AI always create that comments like saying to you that the code is doing what you asked. And people tend to left the comments there. I have a very quick story here. I was talking with my students the other day, and one of my students told me that she likes to leave the comments so the AI can know better about the code when she asks the AI for some updates or some refactoring. So the comments was not there for her, it was for the AI. But okay. Classes with more than 1,000 lines. Okay, what was the biggest class that you saw in your life? Yeah, we had a class in production with more than 11,000 lines. Yeah, we still have.
It
But
still
it's okay.
fits on
Yeah.
the screen.
It still fits on the screen. Okay.
It's just very
Yeah,
tiny font.
of course. Yeah. Methods so large that they don't fit on the screen. There you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I've never seen that.
No.
I always reduce the fonts.
Yeah. Frequent use of copy and paste. No one does that. Okay. Change a piece of code and discovering that it is duplicating another method or class. So you find a bug, you fix the bug, and then there are bugs everywhere because they're the same code, copy and pasted. So feel free to deploy this code on Friday. Yeah. Okay. So when you find this kind of bad codes, we want to know who was responsible for write that code, and then you use git plain and you discover that was yourself. That's common because we are constantly learning. So the code that we wrote like months ago could be in that chaos list. No problem. So what is refactoring? If you know Martin Fowler, I think everyone knows, he says that refactoring is restructuring existing code without changing its observable behavior. So if you change the code, the result of that code can't change, right? So that's one of the biggest problems when you are refactoring. We need tests. We need to cover that after we do lots of changes, its behavior continues because we have the behavior preservation principle. That is, preserve the behavior for readable, sustainable code. No alteration of existing correctly functioning code. So you think the code is working, is functioning right, and you refactor, it needs to continue functioning correctly. And the best thing here is to refactoring phases using tests to prevent breakage. So sometimes we have to work on a class that is too big and too confusing, and we need to refactoring first so we can understand what the class is doing. This is one of the reasons we refactor, to read better the code. But sometimes we do that like in the entire class, and we break. That's common. That's why we need to create tests before we start the refactoring. Okay, so now that we know what is refactoring, why we refactor, I just say that one thing that we usually is in our list, why refactor, is to read better, to have a code that is better reading. But we use, okay, readability and maintainability. If you read better, you can maintain better the code. To reduce technical debt, yeah. To facilitate future modifications, modernization, and migration. To improve performance, to update Java version, to free your time to focus on new features, but we have a new member on the list, to use less tokens. Because if you refactor code, if you have a code that is cleaner, you usually have less code. And if you have less code, you use less tokens. So it is good, even in the AI era, for you to refactor your code. Okay? Make sense?
Yeah, can I ask a question about this?
Of course.
Understand, you say less tokens, you're talking about during the compilation process when the
Yeah,
compiler tokenizes things,
no,
or no?
if you ask AI to update your code, to do anything, it will read all your code. So if you have a refactor code, you have less code, so less tokens to read.
So it's tokenization in doing AI?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Exactly.
And tokens cost money.
This is
And
true,
tokens
yeah. I
cost
just
money,
wondered about
exactly,
that last week,
yeah.
too, so
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And to get rid of code smells. What is code smells? Do you know? Everyone heard of code smells before? No? Okay. Some code smells here. Code smells are identifying indicators that code needs a change. And we have lots of code smells. I won't go through the entire list, but we have, for example, long methods. All the things that we talked about in the chaos list, they are here. So long methods, the comments, too much code, incorrect OOP, lots of things. And if you are familiar with Martin Fowler, he has a book called Refactoring, and he presents lots of code smells, lots of indicators that the code can be changed, it needs a change. And he also has a list of refactorings that you can do. And it's the book is very great because you have all the code smells and all the related refactoring. So for this presentation, I brought some of the code smells and some of the refactorings with real cases. So when refactoring, this is very good because people, I got some friends that they opened issues only for refactoring. And I don't think this is right. Only if you have in your project, like you have a specific task for refactoring. You usually refactor code when you are adding new feature, when you need to understand the code, when you fix a bug, when you're making small adjustments. Maybe you need to add a small functionality. When you're adopting a new Java feature. So you use that tasks that you already have and you refactor. Because, for example, I had this situation where, I had this situation where I had to understand one class that had a bug. We had duplicated people on our database, okay? So I needed to refactor first to understand the function that were creating the people in the database. And that refactor, I knew that it would take like 2 days at least. So since it was not just a small part of my job, my work in that specific task, I negotiated with my team. I told them what I found, what was my idea to refactor, why I wanted to refactor, and they gave me the 2 days, and it was good because it was like the necessary thing to do, and I could solve that same bug in lots of parts of the same project. Okay, so why I usually do that? Because people, at least in my company, they use like issues to count as their how much of their work. How can I say? Each company has some measurements for you to know how much you're working, right? For example, lines of code, issues closed. So people were creating issues just for refactoring, just to inflate their numbers. So the correct way is when you are working on specific tasks, you refactor, okay, as part of the task. So AI plus refactoring, who here saw this meme? When Cloud Code was out there, people were using it to create like entire systems, entire clones, and then we saw this on the internet. Cloud just refactored my entire code base in one call, modularized everything, broke up monoliths, cleaned up spaghetti. None of it worked, but boy, it was beautiful. So yeah, but now yeah, you can use AI to refactor lots of things, but remember what I said before, refactoring parts, and remember to create tests, and remember to ask AI not to change your tests. At least when you refactor, maybe you need to change the function calling. It's okay, but not the essence of the test, because you have to be sure that the behavior didn't change. Okay. Okay. So now I enter in the refactoring itself. Refactor is a skill, so it takes time. But my idea here is, if you do this every day, if you start using the refactoring, all the refactoring techniques every day, it becomes part of who you are as a developer. So it's a good thing because you will have clean code. That's the goal. Okay, so let's do it. I have 10 refactors here to discuss with you. The first one is renaming methods. This is maybe the most common. We have method names that doesn't, it's not clear what the method is doing. For example, I have a method for filter, DM. Filtrar is filter in English. Filter DM. What is DM? We don't know. So knowing the context of the system, I could change the name for filter diploma manual. It's manual diploma. It's a diploma that you made with manual information. It's an academic system here. Because I know, as I'm working there for more than, I don't know, 3 or 4 years in this project, I know that DM is manual diploma. But if you are outsider, you can, it's not easy for you to know this kind of things. But then we find,
there's the other,
yeah.
The longer the variable name sometimes, that makes it harder to read. So compromise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Via man diplom or something like that might work. Sometimes there's just too much to read on a line. Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah. For example, this one, we have a magic number in the middle of the variable. So in the middle of the name. So how you refactor that? I'm not sure. So by analyzing the SQL here, I understood what the method was doing. But then I couldn't rename this. I just created a Java doc explaining what was that magic number. Okay, so sometimes you can't do magic. So the second one is extract methods and classes. When you have methods and classes too big, or maybe you have methods or classes that are doing different things, you can optimize that. For example, here we have like a code fragment that can be grouped together. So that those print details, I can create another method for print details, and I separate the concerns, and now I have a method only for that part. And then I call the method here. So this is a very simple example here, but sometimes we have that methods that doesn't fit on the screen. That's when we use this kind of technique. Okay? The third one is introduce a new variable. This is very common for magic number that I told in the last slide. Sometimes we have like a variable that we don't know what it means. For example, what is 3,600 over there? So if you analyze, you know that is the count of seconds in an hour. But then you can introduce a variable that means something. For example, seconds in hour. And now we don't have more, we don't have the magic number anymore. You have a variable that says what it means. Then means something, right? Okay. The next one here is extract variable. Problem here, you have an expression that's hard to understand. The solution, place the result of the expression or its parts in separate variables that are self-explanatory. We have here, for example, in this chained, in this if statement here, we have like age, the gender, and the category. Okay, so three things. We can create a Boolean is male client, and now we separate at least two of the things here, right? So whenever you need, you can extract a variable, so the if statement becomes clear and smaller. Who here usually does that? No? It's not, doesn't work only with variables. You can extract methods that does the same, right? So then we have here two very fundamental things. The first one is pull up field. For example, when you have a class employee and salesman engineer with get name, if we have get name for all kinds of employees, you can pull up field for the employee class. And the same way, but for the other direction, you have push down field. So employee get quota is only applied for salesman, so you don't need to have get quota for every other class. Okay, now the seventh is use functional programming. Java has functional programming since, I don't know, lots of versions. And Lambda expressions enable functional and simplified Java code. In this example here, I have switch statement versus switch expression. And switch expression we have since, I think, Java 16. So this is the common switch expression, switch statement in Java. And if we have the same thing as an expression using lambdas, it's very easy to see that we have like half the lines, right? So thinking about the tokens thing, it's better. And I think it's readable. It's more readable, right? I don't know. Okay, the last three, the 8, 9, and 10 here, I told that I had 10 things here, are not exactly refactoring techniques, but are techniques that I think is um, very important for you to have on your like deck of techniques. That is dry, keys, and Yagni. The first one, dry, don't repeat yourself. We have, who here knows about the clean code book? Uncle Bob. Okay, I think Uncle Bob says in his book that dry is probably the most important thing in OOP, because don't repeat yourself means that every piece of knowledge or logic in your code should exist in only one place. It's the copy and paste thing. You don't do that. If you find yourself copying and pasting the same code, that's a sign you're breaking the dry principle. By following dry, your code becomes easier to maintain because when something changes, you only update it once. As I said, I had the situation when I found a bug, I fixed it, and just days after that, I had the same thing, the same problem. And I discovered that the same bug was copied and pasted in at least 5 other classes. So if you think about dry every time, you don't do this kind of things, these kind of mistakes.
I worked in the lab for many years.
Hand this man a mic.
Please,
No,
please do your comments for the online people
There's
as
lots of
well.
people online. Yeah, there is, by the way.
Yeah, I worked in the lab for many years at Exxon, right? And I had one researcher I worked with, and I did something wrong, but I did it wrong a lot. He goes, "At least you were consistent."
Okay. Yeah, at least you are consistent.
Maybe on second thought, we shouldn't have handed mine.
Yes, okay, so now we're gonna prevent Mike from going for Mike, right?
Exactly.
I was a young technician. What can I say?
So just a simple example here of the dry. If you have like every time you have a new member on your team, you start copy and pasting all the lines just to calculate the salary. It becomes unmaintainable. I don't think. I don't know if there is this word, unmaintainable. But you can, of course, this is not the right solution, but you can introduce like methods so you don't have to copy and paste everything every time. So the other principle here is KISS. Have you heard about it? Yeah? So keep it simple, stupid. We have a gentle version that keep it simple and straightforward. It's a reminder that simple solutions are usually better than complex ones. Don't over-engineer. Write code that's easy to read, understand, and maintain. And I may say, if you ask AI to write all the codes for you, it's usually not, the AI are not creating code that is simple, usually. But you can ask the AI to create as simple as it can. It's not that case, okay? It's other thing.
Okay, who here knows that band? Young folks. Are there any young folks? Oh, okay, young folks.
They know? You don't know that band? No? It's KISS. Okay, no problem.
Watch their shows live.
Detroit Rock City? No? Okay. So just an example here of KISS problem solution. We have, you can use text blocks to simplify string concatenations. For example, before we had to do something like that, and now we can, using text blocks, we can have a more clean version of the same code. So every time, like Mike said, next week we have a new version of Java. Every time we have a new version of the language, it's good for you to know If something like text block is becoming, it's coming in this next version, so you can update your code to have a cleaner code. And the last thing here is Yagni.
There's a question here online. The guy says, oops. Question online. JP Rodriguez says, in the company where I work, this subject is very delicate. Even constructive criticism of names of variables are interpreted as that I'm trying to kick you out.
About the names of the variables.
Yes, I'm translating him, right? So
okay. Yeah, I think name of variables we can use like you can have a file with all the architecture decisions. For example, how we name files, how we name methods, how we name variables. So you don't have like, you have a standard. That's it. Like we are discussing here before. You can have like the entire name, but it becomes like a too large name. So if we decide to have that the name, like you stop in the middle of the sentence, that could be in architectural files, like decision file.
Just, I have a comment about that, is that sounds more like a political issue than a technical, than about how to do refactoring properly. I don't know. It doesn't. It sounds like a rough environment if that happens at work.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned decision. If your team decide not to do that, at least you have that in a file saying that your boss maybe don't want you to do this kind of things. So the last one is Yagni. You aren't gonna need it. It means don't build something until it's actually needed. And you have lots of to-dos. Example, developers sometimes add features or abstractions just in case, but that often adds complexity and maintenance costs for no real benefit. As I said, at least my friends, they always like to create to-dos on their code. But we tend to forget about the to-do. And sometimes we solve the to-do and we keep the to-do over there, like the comment over there. So remove unnecessary comments. Use clear code and Javadoc instead. And for me, the to-do seems like this, like a stop sign and another sign saying this is a stop sign. Sometimes it's unnecessary. Right. So just an example here. We had this in my company. We had a to-do. Use web service in the future. But then if you see in this line here, we are already using web services, and the to-do was kept in the code. So don't create a method, don't create anything, as we said here before, just in case. Only when it's actually needed, okay? But Javadoc is okay. Javadoc is something that can help you write your code, read your code better. And that's it. I have some things here. I talked about the refactoring book and the clean code book. We have these statements that I think it's very good for the Uncle Bob book is always leave the campground cleaner than you found it. The same principle applies to our code. And from Martin Fowler's, any fool can write code that a computer can understand. Good programmers write code that humans can understand. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed. And if you have any questions, please.
Yes,
Yeah. Just
Here we
a
go.
second.
Whoa.
The microphone.
It's a small enough room, we can do this today.
Yeah,
Just don't give it to me.
thank you.
Yeah, so from my experience, one of the hard part for refactoring is not actually the code. It's like how to convince the management, right?
Yeah.
So for their point of view, the code is working, right? So if you add a small feature, just add here, here, and here, job done. And how to sell to them like in a nice way, like how they can buy it.
Okay.
I found that's a hard part.
Yeah, if it's part of your job, if you're doing anyways, you don't need to negotiate. You just refactor because you have to work on that part of code anyways. So part of what you're doing is refactoring so you can read better, you can understand better what the code is doing, and then you can add the feature. But if, as I said, if you have lots of refactorings to do, then we have to negotiate. As the story that I told you, I had a situation, and what I did, I explained the situation. I told that if we left this to solve another day, another a time, it would be very, very worse. So they allow me to work 2 days on that problem. So that's what I would do. If it's small things, just do the refactoring. Yeah, as part of the task. Any more questions? No?
Oh.
And while we have the questions, please connect with me. People online, if you have any questions, just put in the chat and Bruno will read it for me. Any question about refactoring clean code, about anything related here? Or if you want to share something with us
Here
as
we go.
well.
We don't have that question. I can share.
Yeah, please.
Thank you. So my previous team, they maintain about like 100 like repos of all kinds of services. Like they are very legacy, like about like maybe 10 years old. So one of the things we need to do is like we need to migrate all these services to our new CI/CD pipeline, which has a bar. So we need to bring the code quality all up to that bar, right? So given 100 repos, that's kind of like 1 year of work. But what we did is like we use SonarQube, which find all the code smell, right? So
Yeah.
we use AI to establish a validation loop. So like whenever we ask AI to fix something, it will run that change in SonarQube again, make sure no new issue is introduced, and run that loop again. So we were able to bring like 50 repos, which every repo is about like 10,000 lines, right? So bring that in about 2 weeks. So all up to so it was much faster than we thought. So this
Nice.
validation loop-based refactoring was really good.
Yeah, one thing that is also good is you have your rules file, so you can add things like that in your files. So every time you ask AI to do anything, they will think about these principles before create the code. This works very good as well.
Yeah,
to have.
I remember you mentioned that one of your students mentioned like when we write comments, it's right for future AI. I agree with that very much.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Barry, you have a comment?
I don't see any here in the chat. I'm wondering how often do you experience a situation where you need to roll back refactoring?
Roll back.
Roll back refactoring. Is that a common occurrence in the professional world? You did some refactoring and it turns out that you painted yourself into a corner. Is that a common phenomenon?
So one thing that I've seen doing it, I do quite some time, is that is refactoring to understand. You know, so I'll get a piece of code. That's something that I know Scott's also that teach refactoring. He teaches that too. Scott Wisher from the Houston JavaScript group. He does that too. And so, you know, there's like a complex piece of code, and so you need to understand it. And so you just kind of go and refactor it, separate in different methods, all that. And then once you understand what it is, you just kind of throw everything away, and you know, because you're actually not doing the refactor itself. So you could do that.
Okay.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Thank you. Okay. So thank you
There
for
you go.
having me.
Well, let's first of all,
Yeah.
thanks for
Thank you. Thank you.
Here you go, let's.
Okay, so, the one who's not supposed to get the microphone back is getting it back. Yeah, so that's, thank you very much. That was,
Thank
refactoring is something I hadn't really thought about in a while, but it's always good to see, get a refresher on that. And quick story, you mentioned Uncle Bob's book and Martin Fowler. I saw both of them back in the days of the software development conference when I was doing a lot of C++. So we're talking quite some time ago. And I remember the first time I saw Bob, he's talking about the waterfall technique and agile programming, and he was hilarious. Martin Fowler, his talk was on Halloween Day. He comes in with some Merlin outfit, and it was just awesome. Go back less than 10 years. Uncle Bob was going to give a talk at Exxon on our site in Clinton, New Jersey, and I thought he was going to be remote. Get to the meeting room, and lo and behold, there he is in the flesh. I was like, wow. So, but yeah, so thank you again, Luis, for that. So now I have the pleasure of introducing Bruno Sousa. This is probably your third or fourth time here.
Yes.
And
maybe.
Only the first time that you've been here.
well,
Yes.
I mean, yeah, there's a
It's
story.
the first time
behind
that I
yeah.
see you. So.
So yeah, yeah, there's a story behind that. I think a lot of times, you know, you were going to be in the New York area, and but I just, you know, my wife and I had plans to be out of town, so
Right.
I made sure that I was going to be here tonight. So come hell or high water. So so Bruno, I first met Bruno at Code One in San Francisco in 2019. So Bruno is his nickname is the Brazilian Java Man. He is also one of the leaders at Sue Java, and you know, Bruno specializes in mentoring, and him and Luis, they set up the mentoring hub at DevNexus last week. Barry, myself, and numerous others signed up to do a 1-hour session, and I found it quite refreshing. Actually, Barry has done it before, but this was my first time doing that. So so thank you for encouraging me with that. But yeah, so Bruno, you do a lot. A lot of people. You've helped a lot of people. As you said, the tagline for tonight, Luis is going to refactor your code. You're going to refactor our lives.
Yes, good.
So, so he also runs the Code for Life. You can sign up for his emails every day. You know, I mentioned the leadership credo one time a few months ago, and you actually wrote about it. And Shar Chander actually got a copy of that from me as well. So,
cool. Yeah.
And this was not by me. This was a manager at Exxon back some 10 years ago or so. But anyway, Bruno, thanks for coming here. I'm glad I'm here. So, broke the cycle. So thank you very much. So,
Thanks so much,
all
man.
right.
Yes.
So, but,
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
I have the microphone here. Yes. All right. So thanks everyone, and you know, thanks Mike, thanks Barry, thanks Paul, right, for running you know, the Garden State JavaScript group. I think that, you know, having a user group. How long have you been doing this?
Funny you should ask.
Funny you should ask,
We
right?
had our 25-year anniversary celebration
Oh,
2
cool.
weeks ago, was it?
Right,
Yeah.
25 years, man. That's a long time.
We're very tired.
And we're old.
Yes. All right. So you know, that's an invitation for people to come here and help out, right? I think that, you know, you can see I love JavaScript groups, right? I think that I call the JavaScript groups that the real Java community. We do have OpenJDK. That's where you know, the Java source code is built, right? Is organized. So there's a community around OpenJDK. There's the JCP, the Java Community Process. That's where the Java standards are done, right? So we can talk about all those things you guys want. Right? You know, so Java standards are created in the JCP. So there's a strong community there around the JCP to define the Java standards. But I think that the place where Java developers meet are at the JavaScript groups, right? So, you know, I really appreciate you guys been doing this for so long. And anyone here that want to help out, they need help, right? User groups always need help. There's always things to do. So if they're tired, right? So someone has to come in and help out. Right?
You've probably never heard of a comedian named Steve Allen.
No, I have never.
Mike
heard of
has,
Steve
right? The
Does he
joke
come
goes
here
back.
often to the user group?
No,
No.
never. But it's just we are energized. In fact,
Right.
we are enthusiastic. We're not tired in the sense of, oh, we need to be propped up. We're fine.
All right. Okay.
But help is always appreciated.
Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna take. Can I remove this thing here?
Yeah. You want
Okay.
to?
So
Let me-
before
you want me to do
no,
that?
I'll in a minute. But
Okay.
before I remove the screen, I do run a site called Code for Life. So code4.life. I don't have a QR code here with me right now, but if anyone wants to, actually, I think I can do better than that. I can do better than that. Come on, Bruno, you're getting old, right? So, how about I do here? I wrote a book called Developer Career Master Plan. So if you go to careermasterplan.dev, if I got this right. Yes, okay. So careermasterplan.dev. Now I have a QR code. How about that, right? Okay. So if you go careermasterplan.dev, that's I wrote this book with Heather Van Kura. Heather is the head of the JCP. I say that she's one of the most important persons in the Java community because she leads the organization that defines the Java standards, right? So so me and Heather, we wrote this book called Developer Career Master Plan. And so if you come here to this QR code right now and you put your name and email, you're gonna get the first chapter for free, right? I always say the following. This is that's not my book, right? We wrote the book. It's from Pact Publishing, so they are the ones that sell it. So I can't just give you the book for free because it's not mine to give, right? But what I did is that I wrote 15 articles, one for each chapter of the book, right? So if you come here, put your name and email, I'll send you the first chapter for free. That's the full chapter. And then I'll send you 15 articles, one for each chapter of the book. So you get the best of the book for free, right? Is that good enough?
Mhm.
Right? Okay. So, come here right now, careermasterplan.dev, and get your free copy. And while you guys are doing this, how about I give some more gifts here, right? So, I also, I am the creator of the reputation formula, right? It's a formula about your reputation, how you get your reputation. And so there's 7 things in the formula. This here in the top, right? 7 things you need to increase your reputation, and 3 things you need to decrease to increase your reputation, right? So how about you go around and I give you here, yes, so everyone can have the reputation formula. I love this sticker because it's perfect for your laptop. You can see on my laptop, look how great it looks like on the laptop, right? But if you don't want to put in your laptop, it's the perfect size to put in your cell phone, right? So then you can get, so the perfect size you can put in your cell phone here for your new laptop, because I know you're getting a new one, right? Oh, I'm not, is you're buying yourself as a gift your wife cannot know? All right. Okay. Good. So also, I'm not sure if anyone wants that, but we do have. I'll give this to Luis. We do have Javali. This guy here, right? Javali is a wide bore because Javali comes from Java Libre, right? It was the name of a project we had to kind of open source Java, right? And so but Javali also means wide bore in Portuguese. So our mascot for So Java is this nice Javali guy, and we also have Juggy, right? Juggy is a Java feature, the mascot for Java groups worldwide. But I will leave it here. So when Jug comes out, he gives out the stickers, right?
Did you say
All
when,
right.
if, or when?
When,
You said when. Okay.
when,
Yeah,
when,
okay.
not if, when, right? You gotta remember, right? So, okay, all right. So without further ado, let me
Lift the screen.
lift the screen. Is that like a magic button?
There is, and let me get it going.
Yes, all right. So 1, 2, 3, and go. No, yes. Okay, no. All right. Okay, cool. Now, here. This is technology, right? No, very important technology. Actually, this one is technology because it doesn't get your hand dirty. Okay, so I want to help you out achieve the biggest career dream that you have, whatever it is, including you, Paul. Is that good? So here I want you guys to think about two things. First of all, and we're going to use all the 15 steps for the developer career master plan. We're going to use that for you to achieve the biggest career goal, right? And we're also going to use the 10 steps for the repetition form. We're going to use everything to help you achieve the biggest career goal, right? So that's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about, and for you online too, okay? So you guys watching online also, okay? So here's what I want you to think about. First of all, what is your biggest career goal? What do you want to achieve? Where do you want to get? You know, do you want to launch your own company? Do you want to get an amazing job? Do you want to be paid to travel around the world? Do you want to, go surf in Hawaii for the rest of your life? I don't know. Whatever is your best career goal. Got it? Have something in mind? How about you, Mike? We talk about this, right? So so you have something, have something in mind? Your biggest career goal? Yes, you have. No, you don't have to tell me. Just want you to know. Do you have one in mind? How about you? Do you have one in mind? Yeah. Okay. 2. How about you? Online. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me right now, but it's okay. All right. So now, here's an important question. Why you don't have it right now? What's missing? What's a challenge? What's a big problem that prevents you from achieving that goal right now? Is it time? Is it, I don't know. Is it, I don't know how to get there? For you, online, what is the biggest challenge? Now, I want you guys to tell me what the biggest challenge is. You can tell me your dream also if you want to, but some people don't want to tell their dreams, right? I see sometimes that people, they don't want to tell because they're like the biggest dream. I want to be a billionaire, right? So I don't want to say that, right? Because it doesn't. Right? So yeah. So you don't have to tell me your biggest dream if you don't want to, but I want to know the challenge, because if you solve the challenge, you're gonna get there, right? That's the idea, right? So what is the biggest thing that prevents you from achieving that? Make sense? So for you online, I want you to start with you guys. So I want you to write down on YouTube, on the chat of YouTube, why you cannot achieve your dream. Because my goal here today or tonight is to help you solve the problem. Okay? Who wants to go first? Who already has in the mind that you want to go first?
So
Go?
I just
Go ahead.
So I just figured out what books I want to write next. And the reason I haven't done it already is because I'm already involved in a project that'll take all my time.
Okay.
So
time.
Yeah.
All right. I want to write in a place. Can I write?
Yeah,
right here is good?
yeah.
Okay. So time.
Write as let's see. Yeah, we can see it. We can see it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. It's more for me than for the camera.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Time. Okay.
Right, but I mean, I think it's reasonable that I want to finish one project before I start another. I know that.
So it's not only time, right? It's the idea that I have to finish a project first, right? I have to finish first, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that's the mentality that prevents you from doing this, right?
Right.
Because you have to finish one first to start another one. Yeah, that's good.
Right.
All right. Cool. Who else? Should I go around? Let's say. Oh, go ahead. Yes. Just random. Yes. Whoever raised their hand first. Okay. I want to get to everyone, right? So if you really don't want to do it, you can hide yourself, but I'll get to you. Come on. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think current big challenge is the shift of how the programmer world is moving.
Mhm.
So it's like, for example, like say AI estimation. AI is writing about like 50% of the production code
Mhm.
at beginning of 2026. and the prediction is about more than maybe 90% by the end of
But why does it have an impact on you?
So it's like, for example, I've been like trying, like I'll say, learning all the algorithm, all the data structure, but like AI is gonna pass me on that skill, so I need to translate my skill into something else.
But why does that prevent you from achieving your goal?
Because my goal kind of builds on my skill, but now I need it's my personal idea, right? It might be wrong.
Sure,
the
yeah.
prediction might be
That's
wrong.
what I understand, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to understand. What does AI do that prevents you from achieving your skills?
Because AI do it better than me.
Right. So then you don't have to do it. So
yeah, exactly. So then
right.
I need to transition into a different kind of role.
Okay. So
that's
what is
challenging part?
What is the big skill that you want to have?
To be honest, I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
Yet. So it's still in moving part.
Okay,
right?
just
still moving.
Very good. So I'm not quite sure. That's a good problem, right? Okay. I'm not quite sure. All right. And it's moving. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what else? No. So if I answer that question, is that enough?
Yeah, I think it's
okay, but I think you also say something about AI, doing better than you, right? So I think
maybe it's like technology shift. It's like job market shift, something like that.
Right. Okay. Market shift. Okay.
Yeah.
Just so I remember, right? It's more so I can remember, so I can talk about all the things. Okay. Good. All right. I mean, I know you cannot read what I'm writing. Neither can I. Right. So that's okay. Okay. Go ahead, Paul. Yes.
I'll just say it's money, right?
It's money. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Money.
Right. So what's the problem with money?
Well, the problem is that if the market is
I think you need to talk closer to this. Yes.
If the market is shifting, right, and you have to learn something new, you still have to have a job in order to do that. So you have to maybe work twice as hard, work 12, 24 hours a day to gain that new knowledge to do something different.
Okay, so, but do you think that there is a new knowledge that you need to gain to make more money? Because I think you said the problem is money, right?
Well, I mean, because
I just trying to understand what you want to mean.
You still have to have a job.
Okay.
And trying to learn a new skill at the same time.
All right. Okay. So, all right. So, job plus a skill at the same time.
Yep. Learn something new. Right.
Okay.
So in order to get to that next level that you want to get to.
Right. Okay. To learn to get to next level. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I got it. All right. Okay. Who else? No, she's right there. Yeah, we're gonna throw the microphones. It'd be so much easier just gonna go around, right? But that's okay.
I think the problem is that though is like, can you even get a job? Because it depends on how much experience you have, and there's a lot of jobs now in this market that's not letting you get a job because of the amount of experience you lack. And because of that, there's no jobs that's gonna take you in because you don't have any experience. So like, what job will give you that experience? So
do you think that that's your first? So I mean, for you to achieve what you want, you have to get a job, and you think there's no jobs in the market right now.
Yeah, and I also think with my age, like you guys have a lot of experience. You guys have like at least a little bit like, oh, you've been doing Java, you've been doing like Python for so long. I'm like in college, I started this, I'm trying to learn this. Thankfully, like that you have a job, you can figure that out. Like, but for someone's stepping stool, it's hard to even grasp like, where can I even start off with this?
Okay, very cool, right? So first job, right? No jobs, right? So there's no jobs and no experience, right? Is it good?
Yeah.
If I don't reply, if I don't answer, you kind of do over and over until you get. Who else? Who are you?
Fear of the unknown.
Fear of the unknown. So you're paralyzed right now because of fear?
No, I just tried to throw that one out there.
Oh, just not throw that out. Come on, what's for your career? Don't throw it out. I really want to understand what's.
Fear of the unknown, I think is a real issue for everyone, right?
Right.
So if you move to another job, there's a chance it could be better than what you have. It might not be as good as what you have. right? So you're taking a risk, right? You're putting yourself out there.
Right, but my question is that if that's a fear that you have right now, because here's what I'm saying. You're saying it's a fear for everyone. I understand that. Right. But many people have a fear and they take the risk anyway. But so I'm asking you, do you get stuck because of the fear of unknown?
A little.
A little.
A little.
So
Yeah, I mean, I'm comfortable. You know.
You're comfortable. So that's another
one.
That's another one. All right. Okay, but is there anything else that you want to do that you just comfortable so you don't do it?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I mean, I've traveled full time before, right? So now it's like I'm in a position where I work. I only have to go in the office 2 days a week, right?
Right.
So it's kind of nice and comfortable.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah.
Yeah, but do you think that there's things you want to do but you don't do because you're too comfortable or not?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing is going to a new position where it can be challenging too, right? Because there's only so much you can discern during a job interview to really understand the environment, what it's really like working there, and there are potential employers that might not always be 100% forthcoming. And you make that move, and then you find out, well, this really isn't what I wanted,
right?
Or it's not living up to the expectations that you were that was communicated to you during the interview.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So I'll put here fear of unknown. I think I understand what you're talking about. Fear and not knowing. I'll just put not knowing here. Yes, everything you guys are saying is all true, right? So I'm just trying to understand what is the problem for each one of you, right? So that's good. So, what about you? Yes, see, no one wants you to raise a hand, but everyone has a problem, right?
Like, I don't know is like when I begin my first internship, I want to like find the first internship like for this summer holidays. But I think but I don't know how to like when it's like I find the internship in the US or I back to the China to find the internship.
Okay, so do you have the options to stay here to do things or I mean why you have the doubt?
Because if I go back to the China, maybe I can find some like the big companies.
Okay.
But
not here.
Yeah. In here, I think it's like my language or like something. Maybe have some problem in the internship, join the internship.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So that's a good point, right? So should I stay or should I go, right?
Yes.
Is that music?
Yes, the class.
Should I stay or should I go, right? Okay. All right. Okay. How about you?
So I worry about AI too, because what I know in 2024 there is no type of AI. The old type of AI cannot write a code, but now it's big different. So I actually talk about the job and work. So I a little bit worried about that.
Right. So you're also looking for your first job now?
No.
You're already working.
No. I'm student now.
Oh, okay. So the three of you guys are studying, right? So, okay. So you're already working. Yeah. So those three, not you, she and those two, right? Yeah. Okay. Right. So you're still looking for your first job, right? Okay. Cool. All right. You want to say anything, Mike?
I remember what we.
So here, first job. I'll just put first job here.
Bruno and I had a couple of sessions via Zoom, so it's we talked about finding a better position for myself in retirement. And to do something part time, to travel a little more, go to the conferences overseas. I would love to be at DevOps or Java Land is going on this week, right? They're all in Europe.
Right.
But yeah, so we talked at length about all those kinds of things, and it was great conversation that we had.
Okay.
Mike's goal is to travel
More.
Yeah. Well, yes.
I hope you won't be in Bruno's next.
Yeah. Come with me, man. Come with me. How about online? Anyone online? Okay, the online people are losing the chance. All right. Okay. So so let's talk about those things here, right? So and you know, just really quick. You know, let me. Well, that's okay. I think I'll just mention things along the way. If you go to that page where you get the book, on that page there's a little image that has the 15 chapters of the career master plan, right? And so I'm going to try to use those chapters to talk about those things, right? So let me address first this whole thing about, you know, the first job, right? And AI. I think those are kind of heavy on everyone. So first things first, the best jobs in the industry, including the best internships, right, are given to the people that we trust. Always. You know, I'm not going to say that no job you get by applying for a job, but research shows that 75% of the jobs are filled by indication. That means someone that knows you, trusts you, offers a job to you. Okay? Or suggests you to someone that they know and trust, and you get the job. So 75% of the jobs, right? So, and that happens with the best jobs, no doubt. Right? Because what's happened is, you know, let's say Paul works for me, imagine, right? Let's say that, right? So Paul works for me. And Paul tells me one day, say, Bruno, you know what? I'm out, man. I'm gonna go to Brazil. I'm gonna sell coconut to the beach, right? So I'm leaving. Right? Now, at that moment, I'm the only person that knows that I have a position available. Right? So what is the first thing that I ask Paul? You know, he's not going to stay. He's going to Brazil to sell coconut on the beach, right?
Do you know anybody who can replace you?
Do you know anybody that can replace you, right? That's, you know, so once I ask that to Paul, Paul says, oh yeah, you know, Mike works with me. He's very good. He's able to do my job perfectly. I call Mike and say, hey Mike, I have this amazing job, pays very well, fully remote, you're going to travel around the world, right? Do you want to work for me? Yeah?
Yes, absolutely.
So the job doesn't exist anymore, right? That job is being filled before you even show up online, right? Now, the problem with this, that's one thing that you might not realize, the problem with this, especially for the young ones here, right? The problem is that once I come to my company and I say, hey, HR, I just talked, you know, Paul is leaving, I talked to Mike, he accepted the offer, he's ready to work, here's a position, here's the salary that I agree with him, you know, let's hire Mike. HR will get that information, and as part of their process, they'll publish online. Right? So, you know, you guys here, you know, let's say Barry looks at it and say, man, that's a perfect job for me, right? You know, I'm not going to leave the university for anything, but for that job, I would, right? You know, exactly what I know, it's exactly my technology, I want to do this. And then he applies to it, and 20 minutes later, he's received a message and says, sorry, we decided to go for another candidate. It's like, how does that happen? They didn't, it's perfect for me. They didn't even talk to me because the position does not exist. That happens absolutely all the time, even for internship, right? So the most, now, here's the problem. That's 75% of the jobs. But here's the problem. What if the job is a bad job? Now, Paul tells me this, he's leaving, and I call Mike and say, hey, Mike, I have this job. You have to come to the office every day. It's not remote. I mean, it's pay very little, right? It's very boring. Use old technology. You want to work for me? Right, but you want to work for me? No, right? You don't want to work for me, right? And so then I said, do you want to work for me? Do you want to work for me? Do you want to work for me? Everyone that I try says no. So what happened to that job? Goes online, right? So when you see a job online, it's either already taken or it's a job that no one wants, right? Is that some jobs that are good? Of course. Not every company does exactly what I'm talking about, right? You know, there are different ways, but research shows that the vast majority of jobs happen like this. And so if you're looking for a job, you're already lost. Because the job has to look for you. Even internship. When I joined Sun, I was not looking for a job. Right? I got a phone call and the guy said, Bruno, Newton from Sun is looking for a trainee for internship. He said, if you want, the position is yours. Do you know how was my interview at Sun? You know, that day, guys, we wear coat and tie, right? So I was like, coat and tie, you know. I drove like a little white Volkswagen Bug, right? Like a very old one. The car had my age, was, you know. And so I got there, like truly coat and tie, all that. And so I sat down, and then I waited, and I waited, and I waited. The receptionist, her name is Oskacha. She did not know what to say anymore. No, bro, he's coming. He's coming. You know, he said he's almost finished. He's coming. I stayed like for several hours. And then suddenly Newton, the guy, I knew him, right? You know, because we were working together, right? Before I joined Sun. That's how he knew me. That's the trust come from. So Newton passed by me and said, hey, bro, you're here. I'm like, yes, you know, ready for an interview. He said, look, I have a meeting. I have to leave, right? So the Sun Brazil president is going to talk to you. If he asks if he talks to me, tell him I talked to you and everything's okay. And he left. That was my interview.
All dressed up and no
all dressed up.
That's right.
And then, you know, 5 minutes later, the president of Sun Brazil calls me in, and I come here and I said, okay, so that's my interview, right? So I have to and then I sit down. And he said, you know, what are you doing? And has this and this and that. And I said, and I answered some questions. And he's like, have you talked to Newton? I said, yes. What did he say? He said everything's okay. I said, then he said, so welcome to Sun. I like to talk to people on their first day, right? So that is a job. And by the way, 1 week after that, actually not 1 week, because it took me like about a month to go all the paperwork, right? But once I joined Sun a month later, 1 week after I joined Sun, there's the first public demonstration of Java. So I got at Sun in the perfect time, right? And I was not looking for a job. I was not wanting to work for Sun. I had no idea that job come to me, right? Now, that might sound magic. It's not magic. People need to know what you want to do. People need to know who you are. If people know who you are and they want you, they call you, right? So that's your question. I don't know if I go back to China or stay in the US. Just whatever opportunity shows up, you take it. Because you can always get another opportunity. When you don't have a job, get whatever opportunity you have. You know, it's not like, I mean, if you have lots of opportunities, you can choose the best one, right? I'm not saying just get whatever, right? If you have lots of opportunities, get the best one, for sure. But your career is not made of one-off job. Your career is going to be a series of things that you do, a series of things that you put yourself to do it. And so, you know, people say, oh, but you know, what language should I work with? What if I get a job in Java? What if I get a job in Python? Yes, go, whatever language it is. You know, I don't care. I start programming with BASIC. You know, if I go around the table here, for people that have been here for a while, you guys program with all kinds of different things already. Right? So it's not about one technology, one thing. You know, it's you're going to build these skills no matter what. But you have to be doing something. Right? So how do we get this first job? How do we get this? Look, you have to get something that is visibility. You know, that's part of the formula, right? So we get in the formula, there's trust. Trust requires visibility, right? So if you are not visible, if the people that have jobs don't know you want a job, then you're not going to get a phone call. So people that have jobs have to know that you want a job, right? Because it's not everyone that want a job, by the way. There's a lot of people in your ages that they're not looking for a job. You know, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and you know, his son was like, "I don't want to work. I don't need to work." I said, how about you buy some things you want to buy? I have everything I need. So no, so not everyone's looking for a job, but if you are, people need to know that. Visibility, guys. Visibility is one of the most important things. Actually, the important thing is trust, right? But trust requires, it's not equal, but trust requires visibility. Because if I don't know you, I cannot trust you. So for the students here, you know, the way I got a job, for example, was going to places and doing things with the people that I wanted to do things, right? Let me tell you a story about in the early days of my as a student. I got one day, I was invited to, not invited, no, I had a friend of mine that some people were looking for him, and I was, where's Marcelo? His name is Marcelo. So where's Marcelo? Where's Marcelo? Oh, Marcelo's in the second floor room, blah blah. And I went there, right? And so at that time, we had like a lab for the university, right? So with lots of PCs running Windows, and lots of them with virus. And you had to have a floppy disk, and you put a floppy disk, did whatever, saving the disk on the things. And many times you get the disk out with a virus on it, like it's terrible, right? No air conditioning, not every PC was working. So then I knock on this door, and then they open the door, there's this full air conditioning. We're talking about Brazil, guys, so you know, it's like, so this air conditioning, like, whoa, what a good place. And then I look inside, and they have all these Sun workstations. I'm like, what's this place? That looks awesome. Everything connecting network. It's like, man, this sounds amazing. And then Marcelo comes along and say, hey, Bruno, how are you doing? He say, what is that? Oh, that's the lab. I said, how do I work on this? I said, oh, you can't. This is only for second years or above. And I was in first year, right? So I said, oh, well. And he said, yeah, you know, you have to be a second year, or you have to be doing scientific initiation. Like, what? What is that? And he said, oh, no, Bruno, that's not for you, right? You know, I said, but what is that, right? So, yes, you know, anyway, just you have to have a professor that assigns a thing for you. And so I had this professor that he was teaching artificial intelligence, right? He was teaching Prolog, right? And so I talked to him, and he said, I'm looking for, I didn't talk to him, but he said, I'm looking for a student for scientific initiation, right? So scientific, maybe you guys call it something different here, but it's when you do as a student, you do like a research paper following all the research process to learn how to do research, right? And so basically working for a professor, helping the professor doing his research, right? That's basically the idea. So I'm not sure if you guys have something like this, but anyway. So then, and if you do a good job, you know, you get your name added to the professor's paper, right? So it's good for you. Anyway, so this professor said, you know, I'm looking for it, and I said, I want to participate. He said, oh yes, that's good. So we're gonna get all the documentation and submit the request, and if it gets approved, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, this sounds so complicated. Why do we need to do all that? And he said, no, because I need the approval to get the sponsorship. I said, well, why do you need sponsorship? Oh, so I can pay you. And I said, you pay me? I don't want to get paid. I just want to do the work. He said, oh, you just want to do the work, so we don't need approval. I said, so what? So you can start right now. And so a week later, I was in the lab with the air conditioning, with the sun machines. Right? So if you're willing to do the work, there are places to do the work. right? There are people looking for you all the time. They just don't know that you are willing to do the work, right? So people around you, they have to know that. Your professors need to know that, right? Your friends in your family need to know that, right? Because the more people that know that you are interested, that you're doing some work, that you're doing software, that you're doing things, the better, right? And that's for the students, but for everyone else, right? So, Mike said, I want to go to conference and travel more. We discussed that, right? Everyone needs to know that, Mike. If people don't know, because Mike, for example, knows a lot of people. A lot of people. He's a Java champion. He is very involved in lots of communities. But look, I'll tell you what, everyone assumes that you're doing well. Right? I mean, you're a Java champion. Right? Yeah. So it's like, I'm sure you're not looking for a job. Make sense?
Well, yeah, exactly.
So if people around you doesn't know that that you like to do something different, that you like to work on something, so they're not going to call you. Right? And so we have to get this visibility. And the visibility is not to go ask for a job. Because if you ask for a job, then you're desperate. Right? If you're desperate, I don't want to hire any desperate people, right? So basically, you need to position yourself as someone that solves a problem. That's the big thing you got to do. If you want a visibility in which way? You want to be someone that solves a problem. So people around you have to know what is the problem that you solve. And you have to have clarity what's the problem that you solve. Because one thing that we do, I know Mike, I know myself, I know Luis, I know Barry, right? I don't know Paul that much, right? But I know a lot of Java group leaders, and the thing that we do a lot is that we help everyone on everything, right? We just help everyone that needs help. We help everyone on everything. So no one knows what we do, right? There's a big problem with me. Lots of people ask me, Bruno, I don't know what you do, right? Because you help so many people in so many things. I don't know what you do, right? And so because people don't know what you do, they're not willing to offer you a job because they don't know what you do. They don't know what problem you solve. So you have to have clarity. The reason why no one knows what I do is because I work with a very specific type of developer. I work with developers that have over 15 years of career and they're stuck, right? So when, I see someone like Barry, for example, that's kind of, living the life he wants to live, right? I see someone like Mike that's, as far as I understand, living the life he wants to live, right? Those are not people that are interested in what I have to do because they don't feel stuck, right? But if they feel stuck, they call me because that's what I do. I work with people that feel stuck. So only the people that are stuck understand what I do, right? Because they have the problem. But you have to understand what is the problem that you solve, even as a trainee, even as for internship. What is the problem that you solve, right? Because once people understand the problem that you solve, they're going to call you to solve that problem. Make sense?
So how do you make that known? I can imagine scenarios where there's no opportunity to let people know what kind of problem you solve.
That's a very good point. In our time, that was true. Today,
yes, you blog, social media, blah,
exactly.
Blah, blah.
Today there's no way out. I mean, today you can do anything you want. I mean, you said yourself, you wanna write books, right? Because you solve a problem. When you write a book, you solve a problem for someone. I'm sure that you because you're visible by writing your books, you get called to do things. You get called to go to talks. You get called to go to events. You get called to do jobs. You might not be interested, but you get called because people know what kind of problems you solve because you write books, right? And today, man, you can do this so much, right? Like a YouTube, it doesn't need to be a lot. I have a mentor of mine. His name is Alan. And Alan, he's African, from a country in Africa, and he was living in France, in Paris. And he told me, he said, Bruno, I want a remote job because I want to go back to my country because I cannot bring my family to France. You know, they don't allow me to bring my family here. So I want a remote job so I can go to work, you know, to leave my country and work remotely. And so Alan, he wrote one article on LinkedIn. One. And on this one article on LinkedIn, some random person asked a question in that article. One person asked a question. And then he went on and wrote a second article on LinkedIn. And when he wrote the second article on LinkedIn, the guy that asked a question in the first article went and hired him. Right? And so, and then I'm not sure exactly where he is right now, but he actually moved back home and worked remotely for a while, and then he moved to Singapore, so where he could take his family there to Singapore, right? So last time I talked to him, he was in Singapore. I'm not sure if he's still there, but you know, but sometimes all you need is 1, 2 people that really need you to find you. So you don't need to be like the, you know, a rock star or a Java champion or whatever, like huge visibility. What you need is the right people that needs you to know. You know, that's why I love it when Mike, for example, went to DevNexus and he went to work on the Eclipse Foundation booth. Because those are the people that need him. You know, they clearly need him. Otherwise, he wouldn't be there, right? You know, they asked me, can you come here? Right? You know, yeah, I can, right? You know, I can come many places. You know, I can come to all the conferences in Europe, right, for you. Right? You know, they need to know that. They need to know that you can come, right? You know, they need to know what you can do. So the more people that have the problem see you, the more they trust you, the more you get to do what you want. Make sense? So China or US, get visible in both. You know, the good thing about knowing 2 languages, for example, is that you can do content in English and content in Chinese, right? And then you see if companies over there call you, you do that. If companies, you know, make sense? Another case for students, right? So you guys know Ed Suyanaga, I'm sure, right? So Ed Suyanaga is a top evangelist, everything. So his son, Felipe, you know, it's funny because when I launched my book, I offered a one-on-one conversation to everyone that bought my book in pre-sale, right? And so Felipe went and bought my book. And so I had a call with him and said, Felipe, you can just call me no, Bruno, because you offer. I just want to have a conversation with you. That's good. But anyway, Felipe was in university here in North Carolina. I don't remember the name of the university, but and so he was there, and he was like, I don't know what to do because, you know, I need a job, all of those kind of things. And so he made a plan, right? And actually, Felipe he was going to travel to UK for something. I don't remember what it was. There's a trip like a not for university, for like personal thing. He's going to go to the UK. I said, no, man, you can't just go there. Let's find an event there that you could participate at, right? And so we look at the dates he was going to be there, and DevVox UK is going to happen, right? So, you know, Felipe called the guys from DevVox UK and volunteer. I want to help out the events. So he went there and he helped out the events, right? Because of that, he met lots of people, and he was invited to speak at DevVox Belgium, and then he spoke at Java 1, and then he spoke like in 3 or 4 major conferences, right? Actually, it was funny because Ed Suyanaga, that's one of the best evangelists, one Java champion, Microsoft MVP, one of the top evangelists, you know, he did not have a talk approved in DevVox Belgium. And his son had, right? And so what happened? Ouch, right? So what happened? What happened that Amazon and Google called and offered a job to Felipe, right? And so, you know, Edson works on Google, so Google won, right? But
right. Can I jump in here for a second?
Yeah, sure.
One of the things, what you're saying is so true, and I just have to add a footnote of my own. You tell me if I'm
sure
doing so justifiably or not.
No problem. Yeah.
One of the things with the strategy of putting yourself out there and letting people know that you can solve problems is that you must be patient also, because it's not true that every line that you throw out is going to get caught by a fish.
Right.
And so it's easy, if you're not aware of it, to get discouraged because you go to you have one opportunity, one network opportunity after another, and after another, and after another, and you sense that you're not going anyplace. That's not really what's happening.
Right.
But you've got to hold on to that understanding.
Yes.
That it's a statistical thing.
Very true.
Yeah. Okay.
Very true. So actually, this is very interesting because this thing works, right? We've seen this happen over and over and over, right? So it works, right? But you're right. The problem is that we don't know where those things come from. You know, when you apply for a job at some place, right? You know you're applying it, and you get rejected, right? So you know that. You know you're applying, you get rejected, right? So you think you're doing something because you're applying and you get rejected, right? And by the way, you get rejected a lot, guys. You know, a lot. I was talking to a guy the other day, and he said that he had sent at least 400. He applied for at least 400 positions, and for all the 400, I think he got like 5 returns. 5 people returned to him. 0 offers, but 5 returns. So we think that because we're applying, we're doing something. You're not, because that doesn't work, right? AI and LinkedIn destroy the job business, because now anyone opens a job in LinkedIn, AI goes there, and like in 30 minutes, you have hundreds and hundreds of applications, all AI based for that job, and no one hires anyone. So everyone's hiring people outside of that process because the process doesn't work, right? So just to understand that. So I'm not saying don't apply. I mean, if you're looking for a job, you're desperate, right? Just apply, because I know you're not going to feel safe not applying, but just understand that it's hard that it was going to work. Okay. Now, let me tell you an example about exactly what you're talking about. I was a mentee of mine. His name is Silas. And Silas, he was living in Canada. He lost his job in Canada, so he had to move back to Brazil. So he wanted to go back to Canada, right? And he, his financial situation was not very good, all kinds of things. And so Silas, he came work with me. And from the very beginning, he said, Bruno, I want to work with you, but money's tight, and it's hard for me to do this, but I don't understand. I believe in the things you're telling me to do, but I don't understand where the job is going to come from. And I told him, I said, look, we don't know where the job is going to come from. That's the problem. That's why you cannot search for a job, because you don't know where the job is. So if you search it, you're not going to find it. So the job has to find you. So by definition, we don't know where this is going to come from. So, but you have to trust the process. And it's like, okay, but so Silas is very cool, because everything I told him to do, he went and did it. And every time he went and he did it. But he would say, Bruno, I'm going to do it, but I don't understand how that's going to get me a job. But he went and did it. And he did again. And he did again. And he did the things he needed to do. And then suddenly he calls me and said, Bruno, I was hired by PayPal. I said, where did this come from? I have no idea. Right? And now he is from the finance industry. That's exactly his area. Right? And so basically he's living his dream. And I had, in December, I had an event in a city near his city. So he came. And so I said, hey, let's go eat for lunch. And I can't eat lunch because my family is here with me. I said, no. Let's go eat for lunch with your family, right? So that's great, because that's what I want. And so I was talking to his wife, and I said, how are things going? She said, oh, so much better. Now he works in a great job. He gets good amount of money. And so we're not so tight anymore like we were before. And he's much happier because he's doing something that he wants to do. And so the reality is that that's how it happens, right? And the problem is that because we don't know that's how it happens, we keep trying and trying and trying to send resumes, but that's not what it works. Right? So go do those things you're talking about, right? Go on social media, go on YouTube, go, whatever. Have a little bit of visibility. It's not a lot, but a little bit. Because in our area, very few developers do that. Right? And so if you do a little bit, you're doing more than 99.9% of people. Right? There's 12 million Java champions in the world. 400 Java champions. Right?
You revised the number down. Okay, yeah.
It's 500, right? I don't remember exactly, but it's like 500. 500 Java champions.
All right, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Right. Even if it's 1,000 Java champions. Yes, right.
Whatever.
Okay. So let's go over these things here. So now that's kind of the idea here a lot of time, right? So so the thing here, I'm not quite sure, right? Because moving, it's that was your question, right? Yes. I'm not quite sure, right? And so here's the thing. That's why you have to get visibility, because you're not quite sure. We don't know where the position is going to come from. We don't know what the best offer is. You know what you like to do. You know what you're interested in. You know the things that you would like to do. So go do them in a way that gets visibility, right? And then the people that know, right, that they need you, they call you, because they call you all the time. People get the phone call all the time. So instead of I know the market is moving. I know lots of things are happening. But let me tell you one thing, guys. Good software developers will be needed for a long time. You guys here that are looking for internships, you're going to retire, and there's still going to be need for software developers. Right? Now, that could be that there is less need for software developers. I would go with that. I don't believe that, by the way, but it could be there less needs, right? No, we've been hearing this forever. Every new technology that showed up in the last 50 years, right? People said, oh, with that, we're not going to need software developers anymore. But what happened with every technology? It made it easier for other people to develop software. And the more people that develop software, the more there is need for software developers. Right? And so AI, for me, it's great. I love AI, right? But AI helps you as a software developer to develop software faster and better. It doesn't, all the software that I developed with AI, it did not take a single place for another developer. Right? It was things that need to be done, that is going to take some time. We did faster, right? But, it's not like, oh, now we don't need developers anymore. Right? A lot of things were things that we're not going to do. This whole thing, I'm not sure if you guys heard of this, but this whole thing about selfware. Right? That's what's exploding. Things like OpenClaw, for example, right? Selfware. You develop a software for yourself. So what happens? It's awesome because you develop the software for yourself. So that means, do you think that any of those softwares would someone pay someone to do it? No one would pay anyone to do anyway. Right? So we're not taking the job of anyone. We're doing software that we would not do before. We're doing it now. And that's always happened. The whole history always happened. With cell phones, for example, right? Everyone said, oh, remember, I'm not sure you guys are gonna not ever know this, right? But in the very beginning of software, there was a guy from IBM that said, oh, no one's gonna need more than 640K of RAM, of memory, right? It's like, what happens when you have more memory? We use it, right? And we develop the same software we did before with a tiny amount of memory. We develop, there's new things we're going to do. So there's always new things. There's always new ideas, always new things to do. Right? And I love it. Now, every time we develop a new thing, We build the needs for that thing to improve, right? So for example, everyone's talking about OpenClaw right now, right? OpenClaw, right? Yeah, oh, OpenClaw was vibe coded by whoever. Perfect. It's awesome. It's revolutionized the world. But OpenClaw is extremely inefficient. It's hugely inefficient. And everyone is using. So what's going to happen? It's going to be a moment that we're going to have to get this idea, and instead of vibe coding it, we'll have to think about how we do this, because if everyone uses OpenClaw, we're just going to use a huge amount of resources to do nothing. So someone's going to have to fix this at some point. Who's going to fix this? Someone that knows how to fix that. Right? Because it's not going to be AI, not because AI is incapable to do it, but if you don't know what you're doing, you are incapable to get AI to do what you want it to do. Right? So developers are still going to be needed. I have no problem in that AI is my tool. Right? Let me tell you one thing. I like to talk about things outside of the development area. Because when we think about outside development area, we understand a little bit better. So for example, writing articles or writing emails, right? Every time I ask AI to write an email for me, I think it's crap. And I have to throw it away or redo it or change a little bit or whatever, right? So the analogy that I use is this. Have you ever read an article about some technology that you know? Maybe Java, for example, right? So you read an article about Java. Not the article that Mike writes, because he knows Java, right? But like a journalist writes an article about Java, right? And you read the article. What do you think about it? You think it's crap. This guy knows nothing about Java, right? Isn't what you say? Now you read an article about something you don't know about, about politics or geopolitics or economy, right? And you read the article and say, whoa, that's a great article. Right? I think both articles are crap. So just one you know how to notice that's crap. The other one you don't notice how it's crap. That's what AI does. If you ask AI to do something that you know about, you look at it and say, that's a piece of crap. Right? But then you ask AI to do something you don't know about, you say, oh, that's awesome. Right? So my opinion is that I think both are crap, but one you care about, the other one you don't. Something that you know about, you care about, so you want it done better. That's the thing, right? So you get something like OpenClaw that's awesome, right? But it's very resourceful, and not only this, it's not only that's very they use a lot of resources, is that it has some ideas that don't work in the long run, because AI is non-deterministic. Right? So OpenClaw, it tries to do something, right? And so it keeps adding to its context until the context gets too big. And so when the context gets too big, what does it do? It doesn't throw it away, it compacts the context. So use the AI to turn that big context in a small context that does the same thing. But it's not doing the same thing anymore, right? Because it changed what you told it to do. And then do this multiple times, and you have a context that's not doing what you want it to do anymore, right? And then lots of people say, but I did not ask it to do that. I specifically told it to not do it, right? And it's doing it. Why? Because the context, because AI is non-deterministic, right? Now, who has to think about those things? Do you think AI is going to think about those things? AI is not going to think about those things. AI is non-deterministic. Right? So AI is not going to think about those things. Who has to think about? We have to think about this. So you, especially the young ones here, you have to understand how to do those things so you can actually work with AI to get AI to do what you want it to do. So there's no shortage of reading. Look, I understand that might be other areas in fields there that AI is just going to supplant whatever you're doing. Right? But we are the ones writing AI. We're still going to be needed, right? Actually, my opinion is that right now there's like a big bunch of layoffs because, oh, AI is going to solve everything. So the big guys are you. Actually, let me tell you this. Is it real that because of AI, lots of people are doing layoffs? Yes, it is real. But my point is, I don't think they're laying people off because AI is replacing people. They're laying people off because AI is a great excuse. Right? So what happens? What happens is like, you know, I need to give value to my shareholders. So a great way to give value to my shareholders is to reduce the cost of the company. Now, if I go in and fire people, firing people is bad for the company because it shows that I hire too much or I'm growing. Have you ever heard of an expression called employee farming?
I haven't.
Have you ever heard of that? Employee farming? That's a technique that those companies do to increase share value. So, you know, how do you show the market that you're growing? You hire people. So they do employee farming. They hire people that they don't need, so they show that the company is growing, so the investors can invest in investors. Now, how do you fire those people? You can't fire those people, because if you fire those people, you reduce the company. And then your share is going to go down. So what do? They fire people with a good reason. Oh, we invest in AI now, so I'm going to fire people. Right, so now the market saying, yeah, the share value is increased because you fire people because you're using AI. It's all a lie. They're not using AI. AI is not replacing anyone. Right? And we see this all the time. But anyway, so don't worry about AI. Actually, learning to use AI because you guys are going to be great. You know, one of the biggest problems that juniors have is that, you know, you don't know anything, right? So you sit down and you have to solve a problem, but you don't know anything. So what do? You have to ask the guy to decide, right? And if you ask enough to the guy to decide, he's going to say, oh, that's a terrible junior. He doesn't know anything, right? So, and also you're taking the time out of him, right? Because he has to do things. Now, you have AI. You use AI to teach you, to ask questions. You don't use AI to do the job. You ask AI to help you out. Okay, make sense? So use AI, man. You're gonna grow a lot faster. A lot faster. The turnaround is crazy. You know, because if you have to ask for someone and they have to find the time to show what needs to be done, to explain things to you, man, you can do the same. The thing that would take you like 2 days to do, you can do 10 times in 1 day. And so that's gonna help you learn very fast. Now, if you use AI the right way, right? Because if you use AI the wrong way, what's going to happen? You're just going to not learn anything. There's a very interesting, I was hearing I don't know, anthropologist, someone that works with people, right? Like past, I don't know, doesn't matter. Like, she's a person that works with people. So she was telling about AI. And she was talking about research experiments that happened many years ago. It's like all the pictures were black and white, a very long time ago. So they had this little baby that was born, and a chimpanzee was born. So they thought that let's get the baby and the chimpanzee to grow together, right? Because then they can teach each other things, right? So we can, both the chimpanzee and the baby is going to grow faster, right? And so that worked amazingly, right? Because the chimpanzee was very fast, right, in growing. And the baby grew really fast, right? The baby could do things that a normal baby doesn't do because he was working with the chimpanzee. Until the baby starts speaking. And the moment the baby starts speaking, the chimpanzee could not follow. And then what happened? The baby start regretting back to noises because the chimpanzee could not follow him. Right? And then they end the experiment, of course, right? So AI is this, right? AI is not the baby. AI is the chimpanzee. AI has a limit, right? So if you use AI the right way, you're going to grow fast. But the moment you can grow better than AI because you do relationships, because you understand people, because you understand context, because you understand the world AI doesn't. The moment that you can grow faster than AI. If you don't use AI as a tool, then you're going to revert back to the lower denominator, that's AI. So that's what I don't want you guys to do. Don't revert back to AI. You have to use AI because AI is not going to grow. You know, remember, AI, there's the modules, but once the module is done, that's it. You know, AI doesn't learn, doesn't do things and learn to become better, right? Is the model is the same, right? And it's not thinking, by the way. It's just statistics, right? You know, we know it's just data. It's not thinking, right? So you can do a lot better than this. So don't revert back. Okay. So I mean, I know I'm talking too much here, but that's good. That's good. So, you know, AI is doing better. No, AI is not going to do better than you, right? I understand that there's a market shift, but the market shift, you know, the biggest shift that's going to happen is relationship. AI cannot build relationships, right? AI can try to fake relationships, but it cannot build relationships. So the big shift is this. You know, the more everything's easy, the more we need each other, right? Remember that, you know, oh, let's use technology to eliminate all the bank's lines, so we don't have to go to the bank anymore. We do everything online. So what happens? Now the people that have money, they have like a special person in the bank that deals with them, right? Because now that we don't want to go to the bank anymore, now we have a special person to deal with it. So relationship, guys, change everything, right? So, okay.
So Bruno, there's
Yeah.
a comment on YouTube, and since Barry has a microphone.
Go ahead, Barry.
Comment on YouTube, yes. Let me move something out of the way here. And get the Honestly, I often don't envy those who are learning programming now. You need enormous willpower to write code yourself instead of using AI. But there's no other way to truly learn programming.
Yeah. Okay.
And my problem is I have to teach people programming in an environment in which they're not naturally inclined to learn the nitty-gritty because it gets done for them.
So one thing I want to say, right? You know, look, for me, this is similar to say, oh, I envy the people that are using Java instead of assembler. You know, I think that what we're going to do is that those people, they're going to learn how to solve problems by asking AI to write code. And what's so wrong about that? I don't think there's anything wrong about that. You know, because in the end, AI, you know, AI doesn't know the problem, doesn't know how to solve the problem. It doesn't, right? So someone has to guide it. So if what you're going to do as a developer is to understand the problem, understand what needs to be done, understand the context, understand the companies. And actually, there's a guy the other day who told me, oh, because now we're not going to need developers anymore. AI is going to do everything. I said, oh, that's great. You know, so now I don't have to do meetings anymore to understand the problem. I don't have to understand the customer, what the customer needs. I don't have to, you know, to make a plan on how we're going to implement this. I don't have to worry about cost because AI is going to solve all this. Oh, no, AI is going to write the code. I said, okay, but write the code is not a problem. Write the code is the easy part. Everything else is the problem. Right? The code is the easy part. Ask for any good developer. You know, they don't spend the whole day writing code. You know, they spend the whole day thinking about problems and solving problems. You know, I was talking to Brian Gatz the other day, the architect for Java VM, and he says, you know, he spends his days thinking about things, right? And then he sits down and do a prototype and see the prototype works, it doesn't work, he talks with people, hey guys, what do you think about this? Oh, we like, don't like, etc. It has nothing to do with spending time writing code. AI doesn't replace what Brian's doing at all, right? Because AI is not going to do those things, right? So we have to understand that the same way that AI is not going to write books. It will write books, right? But it's not going to write the books that you want to read. Because the moment you know the book is written by AI, you stop reading it. You know, do this. I got a book the other day from a guy that I like him a lot, right? And you know, and he's doing these new experiments of writing a book really fast, etc., etc. And so I got the book. I bought the book, And I was very excited about it, and I started reading the book, and he explained, yeah, this book was written by AI, and then I stopped reading. I don't care.
But he puts his name on it anyway?
Yeah.
It's
right.
He didn't write it. He just prompted it.
Right, exactly. Right. So like, yeah, so I don't care, right? So no, so that's what's gonna happen, right? People don't care. All right, but let's try to get here because I know I'm out of time already, right? Long time. Okay, so yes, it's skills. Yes, you need to skill. Look, it's not learning. Sorry, Barry. It's not learning. The only thing that matters is the skill. Is doing. Right?
I half agree with you.
You half agree with me.
I agree with part of what you're saying, but not all of what you're saying.
Right.
And I'll leave it at that.
Because you need to learn enough to be able to do it, right? I agree with that, right?
Yeah.
So that's a cycle, right? The problem is that people that just want to learn, just learn is not enough. You have to do it, right? So the best way to do it is get a job that allows you to do it, right? Now, you have to go to a good university, you have to study good things, you have to have the basics so you can get a job to learn things. Go ahead.
I'll try to make this only 2 sentences.
That's okay.
The way you use the word learn is different from the way I use the word learn. When I use the word learn means learn by practicing, by reading, thinking, hearing, and practicing.
That's perfect.
Okay?
I love that.
Okay.
So that's great. And so how do we make this in the right way then? What word do you use that's not learn?
I like the word learn.
No, because I say it's not about learning.
It is about learning because you don't learn when you're not trying things and experimenting and working with
No, I know, but you know what I mean here, right? So I'm using the word learn.
Okay.
And you're saying that's not so what is the big basic thing that we agree is not enough?
Passive learning. Let's call
passive
it
learning.
Passive.
Okay. Passive learning is not enough.
Right, exactly.
You have to do active learning. That means you have to do the skills.
Yeah.
Right? Okay?
You can't pick it up by osmosis.
Right.
You can't just let it blow by you and then say you know it.
You have to do it, right? So you have to, and the best way to do this is get a job to do this, right? I think we talk about first jobs a lot, right? So first job, no jobs, no experience. Oh, this is an interesting one. No experience, right? I love AI because AI can help you get experience, right? Because you can go and do things, right? It's a lot easier for you to do things with AI than not do things, right? But here's the thing. You can get experience by doing things for yourself. Don't be thinking that the only way to get experience is by getting a job. You can do things for yourself. Everyone loves to do things. There are things you like sports, you like China, for example, there's lots of things that you like that you can do and you can build your own experience. So don't worry about this, right? Now, for you, because I wanna make sure that I touch a little bit about someone, right? Because you talk about the fear, right, of not knowing, and you're right. When you do an interview, for example, you have no idea what's going to happen. You have no idea the possibilities, right? That's why, you have to have visibility, because once you have visibility, the right people that need you, they contact you, right? And of course, there's always a risk there, right? But if the right people that need you contact you, they're going to tell you the things that they're doing. That's just what you want to do, right? Because they're the right people. And those jobs, man, they are not visible anywhere. So when you get interviewed to some place that you just applied for, you have no idea what it is. But if someone that you trust, because trust goes both ways, right? So, for example, let's say, I don't know, I just talk about Brian Gatz, right? Let's say you're interested in working with Java, right? So then someone from the Java VM team that you've worked with those people, you participate in events with them, you participate in open JDK projects, you know how it works. If one of those people contacts you, yeah, it's a no-brainer, right? Because you know who they are. So trust goes both ways, right? And I love the one of the stories that I always think is one of my best stories of mentees. That it's a guy. His name is Andres Galante. So Andres, he he wanted to participate in open source. He thought it was impossible for him to participate in open source, and so his dream was to participate on Bootstrap. Remember the Bootstrap project? Yeah, like. Yeah, so exactly, right? So he wanted to participate in Bootstrap, right? And so we made a plan. His dream. He said, Bruno, if in a year I can be one of the top 100 contributors to Bootstrap, that's going to change my career. So in 30 days, Andres became number 48 of Bootstrap. In 3 months, he became one of the 9 contributors of Bootstrap. So we were in Java 1 together, and Andres is he's an Argentinian. He's thin and tall. And so I remember him in the corridor in Java 1, he raised his hand like, Bruno, today I can break the internet. And so, look, the moment that happened, Andres' life completely changed. Why? Because everyone uses Bootstrap, right? And so this is a guy that every company in the world already trusts, right? Because he is writing Bootstrap. Make sense? And so every company already trusts him. So everyone wanted to hire him. So he got to choose where he wanted to work at, right? And so when when people want you, right? I understand the fear of not knowing, but man, if the person that's contacting you is someone that you know, someone that you work with, someone that will use the software you're doing, someone that you solve problems with, the risk is a lot less. Make sense? Right? So that's the not knowing. That's why instead of you trying to go after, you have to build the visibility so they come after you, right? Should I stay? Should I go and talk about this, right? So I think that's get the best offer. And then we're going to talk about first job. What else? I think we talk about everything, right? Oh, the only one that's missing is you, Barry.
Oh, okay.
Right? So first of all, here is one interesting thing, right? A lot of people are afraid that AI is going to do their job, right? And you want help to do their job. So maybe AI could help you somehow. I don't know, right? Maybe. But I think that depends on the people, right? But I'm not one that I have to finish a project to start another one. I don't think that's necessary. Right? I think you can do things, I think maybe it depends on how you work, right? So I mean, I think some people sit down and they work and they do things. The way I try to do things, let me tell you how I wrote my book, my first book. Because I thought it was impossible for me to write a book. I always thought, I can never write a book in my life. And so I had to break that idea that I could never write a book. And so I figured out what is the least amount of work I can do to write a good book that gives me good results. Right? And so I wrote a book in 10 hours. Right?
Okay.
I wrote a book in 10 hours. Right? So the full amount, and because I was doing experiments, right? I kind of tracked all the time that I spent, right? So the full amount of time that I put in the book was 10 hours, right? And that's convincing me that I could write a book, right? And so then I went to Heather and wrote another book, right? Because now I knew I could write a book with that, right? So, for me, time is actually, everyone has the same time. We all heard of that, right? So time, there's just one solution for time. Is priorities, right? And so when you say, for example, that you have to finish a project to start another one, it could be true, right? Don't have to, you don't have to do many things at the same time if you don't want to, right? But the question is, what is the priority, right? So which project would be the most important for you to do right now? Which project will give you the most results, right? And so you could decide which project is the one that you're going to do today, right? And finish it right now. And how long does it take for it to finish, right? And then you can move, because I think the biggest thing here is, because that was the question, right? The question was, what is your biggest career dream? Right? And one thing that I see a lot is that involves this here, is that when people, they have this career dream, and their dreams like this, right? So here's how they think, right? You know, that's their big dream, right? And so they think they have to do this, this, this to get this dream, right? So the dream is this, but that's not what they do. They do this here and this here, right? So I'm going to give a real example. Because when you see someone else, you see this guy's crazy, right? You know, ourselves, we don't see this. But so I had a mentee of mine that he told me, he said, Bruno, I have this amazing project I want to do. It's my biggest dream. I'm going to launch that company. It's going to be amazing. I said, perfect, good. And he said, but I'm not going to do this right now. Because to do my big dream, I need money. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build another company that does something completely different that's going to be easy for me to make money on, right? And so I'm going to do the other company. I'm going to make money of that. I'm going to get all the money that I need. And so I have the money to do my big dream. You see the flaw in that, right? You know, because who said the other company is going to be easy to make? There's no easy money, guys. Money is always complicated, right? There's no easy money, right? So if imagine if he did make money the first company. Imagine that he made that successful, and he made money with that company. Will he simply stop doing that to go do the next thing? Probably not, right? You know, he's still going to continue to make that company that's working, right? So I like to think about this kind of the delayed dream. I have a big dream, but I think that for achieve my big dream, I have to do all those other things. And so what I would like to challenge all of you is that if you have a big dream, what do you need to do to achieve that big dream? Right? You know, maybe there is a series of steps you have to do. But forget about this for a minute. Think about the big dream. Because my main job that I do with my mentees is to accelerate their big dream by doing the big dream and not 1,000 other things that they want to do before. Right? Every week I deal with that. Someone that thinks about, I'll give another example, a guy called Jericho. Jericho told me, oh, my dream is to give a talk in a big event. I said, okay, cool. So let's work on the big event. They said, no, so before I can give a talk, I need to learn lots of things. I need to do lots of things. I need to get a new job. I need to, all those things. I said, why? Oh, because if I do all those things, I'm going to have the expertise and I'm going to have the trust to be able to give a talk. So, you know, you guys that give talks, you know he's wrong. I know he's wrong. You know he's wrong, but he doesn't see that. Right? So, he's working with me for like 2 months because he started in January. He's working with me in 2 months. He was already accepted to big events as a speaker. Right? So that's the thing. That's the big things. If you have a big dream, go after the big dream. See you guys. Good luck, man. So go after the big dream because that makes all the difference. Okay? Right. So I think I answered all the questions. Oh, going to conference, travel more. Right? Man, everyone needs to know that. Everyone needs to know that. Right?
Yeah, I talked a little bit with Ibar.
Right. Everyone needs to know that. Yes. Everyone needs to know that. And by the way, because you know your particular situation that you don't need a full-time job right now, right? You can negotiate a different process. Do not think that you need to have a job. You know, do not think you need to have a job. You can negotiate something different. You know, you can figure out a way to make this a reality without you having to have a job.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just want to add a comment too.
Sure.
Sometimes it's good like at work, a lot of times you may get a lot of tasks from your bosses to do certain things. So a lot of times on your team, you also look to delegate certain items to other people to mentor them so they can learn too.
Yes.
So they may be willing to take on some of these things, like Barry talking about writing another book. You may be able to work with a student who may be looking to try something so it could help them with a job later, that they may be able to write some outlines for you that you can review with them as part of their process.
That's amazing.
So you're winning because you want to write a book.
Yeah.
They're winning because they want to learn. So when they go for a job, they can say, well, I did X, Y, and Z to help out. So just something to think about.
I love that you said that because you just described me. Right? You know,
Well,
why do you think Luis is here? Right? So he can do all the work.
So I just wanted to mention another comment from YouTube. Is from Julio Cesar, and he says, I always use AI to help with specific parts of the code, but not the entire code. Most of the code I write manually without AI.
Yes.
So,
yes. Look, I don't think, I don't think that necessarily you have to not use AI to write the codes, right? I think that we have to understand what is important for you, what's not. So for me, there's lots of things that are just not important. I want something, like OpenClaw, right? It's just, it's not important that you're not using OpenClaw as a server that will, that will have millions of people using. I mean, everyone runs their own machine, so it's really not that important that OpenClaw is resource efficient. So you just do what needs to be done. So I'm like this, right? I think that the things that that they're not important, yeah, man, just let AI to do it, right? Who cares, right? I mean, if I just said a few minutes ago that I don't let AI to write an email, if I use AI for anything, I end up just going to throw the whole thing away and rewriting everything. But honestly, if I have to write an email, for example, for my insurance company, requesting that please, don't renovate my whatever, anything, right? I can just use AI to do it, right? It's like, who cares, right? I did this the other day. As I had this issue that was going on, and I had to explain so the guys would actually do the right thing, right? And I said, here's the problem, here's the thing, here's what they sent me, write an email that explains exactly what needs to be done, and the AI did, and so that's great. So awesome.
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect. All right.
All right.
Thank
you so much. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And thank you
so much.
everybody who joined us on YouTube. Let's see. So I'm just going to talk about. Oh.
Yeah. So you have to talk about your. Okay. So I'm just. Wait. Yeah. I should have one thing here. Right, because we got to at least have a picture.
Oh, this is true. Yes, right, absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Oh, we got. I was. One of the things I forgot to mention when I first met Bruno, he has this Brazilian flag as a cape, and also he has his mascot there, Juggy. So.
Hey guys, how you guys doing? Hey guys, how you guys doing? I really like you, man. It's so cool to be with you. Okay, hi everyone. This is Juggy here. So Juggy is the mascot for JavaScript groups, right? So many years ago, Duke was trademarked, and we cannot use as JavaScript groups. Yeah. So a bunch of us got together, and we create Juggy. That's neat right here. So Juggy's a Java finch, and he lives in groups, right? Like JavaScript groups. Yes, right. Yeah. That's neat right there. Cool. Very good to see you, man. Very good. Very good. Thank you. All right. Okay.
Oh,
so,
awesome.
Thank you for being here.
Good to see you, Juggy.
Yes. No, I need a picture. Yes, picture. Yes, good. Yeah. All right. Okay. Very good. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Very good.
All right, very good.
How about you guys? You want to be in a picture?
Hey guys, how you doing? Yes, come on, everyone. Selfie.
Let's do, yeah.
Yes.
Well, who's good at that? We need a young person for that.
Yes. Someone that has a long arm.
There we go.
Oh, Paul's not. Oops, wait, don't fall, man. Come on, Paul. Yes, all the organizers here. Yes, cool. Come on. No, do a selfie. Come on.
All right.
Come on, do a selfie. Here.
Oh, here we go. Look at it. Look at natural. Look at that.
Yeah.
All right.
Very nice.
Very good. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you.
So, in closing,
put your hand together for me. Right? Yeah. Woo-hoo. Yes, good. All right.
So our next meeting is tomorrow night. Victor Gamoff. I don't know the exact title at the moment. I should, but yes. If you we're back in our normal meeting room, room 106. And the only one of the changes, there's a 30% discount for OCX in Brussels next year. So in Belgium, and that's on the slides on the So I'll show that tomorrow night. But with that, safe travels home.
I have one
Yes.
question.
Okay.
So who did the signage for tonight's meeting? A++.
Yes. All right. That's yes. I know. I wanted to walk around and see if anybody was going to our original room. What's that?
That's a juggy sticker that people online are not gonna get it.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Okay.
Right,
Yes.
yes.
You're showing it to them. Okay.
Yeah, I show it to them, right? That's why I have to be in person.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. But yes, so anyway, thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night. Take care. All right.